By now, you've likely heard the trending phrase, start before you're ready. But what exactly does that phrase mean? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on that phrase and how you can actually get started before you're ready. Hey there, Shauna here, the Delightful Clinician. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and stay tuned for more. Everybody likes to say just go ahead and get started, but most of the time you're not sure where to begin or how to even begin. And now there's a whole trending phrase talking about start before you are ready. What does that even mean? In this video, I'm going to share with you exactly that. With you an example of how I got started before I was ready and 3 tips about how you can do the same. Plus, if you stay tuned to the end, I'm going to give you the inside scoop on my latest side hustle and how I use that to get started. So let's go ahead and break down what this phrase means. When you are hearing this phrase, it sounds to me like what people are actually saying is to take advantage of the moment. You want to seize the moment and take advantage of the time that you do have at this point. So if you have an idea, it's fresh on your mind, instead of just waiting to see what happens, it might be a good idea to start working on this idea. Write it down, develop it, and see where it takes you. But if you wait and wait and wait until things feel perfect, you are going to miss that term, or you're going to miss that moment. So when you hear get started before you're ready, that is your cue to actually start moving, because you're not going to feel ready until you're actually making that movement. A lot of times what happens to us is that we get so scared and so hesitant that we don't take advantage of the time at all or the moment, and then we miss the idea. And I know the feeling of just not working on something and then a whole year goes by and you're like, oh, I wish I had just gotten started on this. So when you hear get started before you're ready, it means to really just go ahead and start taking the steps. Even if they're small steps to a really big thing, at least you are working your way towards something that you actually want. And this can look so many different ways. It doesn't actually mean that you have to be out there and you start buying things. It doesn't mean that you put your course together right away. This can mean many different things depending on the person, which is great. Because again, when you are starting, that means you do it in your way. So you take your baby steps. You don't do it in another person's footsteps, or you don't do it according to how other people think it should go. You do it to what feels right and what feels comfortable for you. But you are actually making the movements. So in real time, what this looks like for me is that I've wanted to start an Etsy shop. And my idea was that the Etsy shop would have all different kinds of hustles. So I would create all different kinds of things in order to get my shop going. And the cool thing is lots of people start on Etsy. I actually had an Etsy shop once upon a time, but I gave it up when I moved to be closer to my boyfriend, now husband. So now I'm restarting this shop years later. And so it feels completely different than when I had done it before. But it's still a possibility to not only make money on Etsy, but also have a thriving business. So I think this is a really good place to get started and to share with you how you can do something similar if you wanted to. Now, when I decided that I wanted to start an Etsy shop, I felt like I didn't know how I was going to be able to make this successful. Like I said, I had one years ago and it did pretty okay. I actually was making sales and I was doing really well when I decided to close the shop. And so now years later, it felt like a big feat to go ahead and start all over again from the very beginning. Listings were different. You know, we're talking about doing different kinds of SEOs and videos and hashtags, different kinds of pictures. Everything felt really overwhelming and really different. So where I started was just doing some research, looking at different things that I could create and seeing what would work with my life and my time at this point where I am. So for me, starting before I was ready was actually just starting with research until I got to a place where I felt like I had a solid foundation. And then from there, I was able to take more steps. And now I'm at the point where I'm actually getting ready to list my first Etsy. By the time you're seeing this video, I will probably have some listings already going. And that feels really good. And it all started just by doing some small steps to get me to where I am at this point. It took 4 weeks, which is really fast, but I am a serial entrepreneur. So it felt good for me in my pace. But for you, it might be something very, very different, and that's okay. Just know that when you're starting out, you can start with something as simple as research, just Googling and trying different websites, putting your ear to the ground, seeing what other people like, and seeing what's missing, and then kind of moving it from there. Here's a huge tip and a very big key. For me, what really helped to get this in motion was speaking it into existence. Once I knew I wanted to start an Etsy shop again, I continued to tell myself that this was something that I was going to do and that this was going to be successful. When I speak things into an existence and act as if they are already happening, I find that I am way more successful than if I am allowing doubt to fill in my mind. I'm not being unrealistic and I'm not being overly optimistic. I am just speaking what I want into reality. And so my big thing is to look for ways that you can speak what you want into realities, even if that's just small things. So for me, I kept saying, I'm going to start this Etsy shop. I'm going to start this Etsy shop. And that turned into, I'm going to make press-on nails. And that turned into, I have a whole entire theme. I'm ready. I'm doing this. So the more I was able to speak things into existence, the more I was able to just get started and just get moving, which is a huge deal. And the great thing is, as I'm doing this, I'm finding what works for me and I'm finding my balance. A lot of times people are afraid to get started because they feel like things are just going to be out of whack or things are just going to be too overwhelming. You, again, have to work at your own pace and find your balance. I know I made this seem way too simple, so I want to give you some tips to help you get started before you're ready. Tip number 1, remember that taking action can look like many different things. You can plan, research, market, put your ear to the ground, beta test, you can gather materials, you can do a whole bunch of things before you actually put your business together. You can write your business plan, which is a huge deal. You don't necessarily have to buy a bunch of stuff to actually call yourself getting ready. There's a lot of different steps and a lot of different proponents that you can do that is still taking action. Tip 2, be sure to surround yourself with those who are going to give you practical encouragement. What I mean by practical encouragement is that you don't want people who are going to be unrealistic and overly optimistic, but you do want people who are going to ground you and support you through your startup. It's very hard to start up businesses. It can be very scary and overwhelming, but you want people that are going to be able to support your dreams and not shut them down or criticize, but allow you the space to grow into what you are doing. And tip 3, remember to pace yourself. Rome was not built in a day, and your business is not going to take off overnight. There are some people who seem like they're taking off overnight, but I can tell you behind the scenes, it's usually lots and lots and lots of work. So just pace yourself, go at a rate that feels good to you, but keep going and know that your time will come if you continue to put the work and if you continue to invest in the business that you are creating. So at the beginning of the video, I told you that I was going to share a little bit more about the concept of my new up and coming Etsy shop. I did sneak peek a little bit earlier when I told you that I was going to be starting with press-on nails, but here is the true concept of my Etsy shop. I'm creating a place where you can find materials that aid in self-care, but they are materials that are like what we talk about typically with self-care. So, people like to buy things and people like to look good. They like to get glammed up. They like the comforts. And maybe they might even like to be doing things like painting. I'm going to include so many different things in the Etsy shop. It's going to feel a little bit like a pop-up shop, which I'm excited about. But I'm going to take it one step further and include your aftercare. So even though you might buy press-on nails, you're going to have a little excerpt into how you can do some aftercare to take those nails just from making you look good to also making you feel good on the inside. So I'm bringing my shop full circle, and I cannot wait for you all to check it out. Like I said, by the time you watch this video, you will probably be able to go to She Side Crafts to see more about how I'm going about launching this business. I'm so excited, and I cannot wait to share more with you all. That's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you can get more when they come out. And I'll see you soon. Bye for now.